What's going on, everyone? You're welcome once again to David Data Channel, where we talk about data science, productivity, and faith. Alright, so in today's video, I'm going to be talking to us about what a data analyst actually does. And I'm going to do this around four categories. I'm going to be talking about the job descriptions, the qualification, the skills needed, and also the salary expectations. Yeah, okay, so let's hit the ground rolling. So, number one, the job description. First of all, so a daily task of a data analyst could be around management requiring an answer to a particular question. Say, for example, management wants to know which region actually has more sales in the last quarter, or what was the sales trend like over the last quarter in a particular region, or by product, stuff like that, really stuff like that. And the first thing that a data analyst would have to do would be to define the problem because by and large, as data analyst, your goal is to help the organization or the team or the client solve their problems using data, right? Using the insights you get from data to solve their problems. So let's say they're making a decision out of intuition and they've had data from the business for like 6 months. So it's up to you to analyze this data to get insight so they can make better decisions. And the first part of it would be about you defining the problem or understanding the problem because oftentimes when a tax or a request is being made to the data team, oftentimes the stakeholders don't really are not able to really to define the problem as it were, even though they have an idea of what they want. But then it's up to you to ask questions, probing questions enough to get down to the root of the problem, and so you can clearly define that problem and say that, oh, this is the problem I am trying to solve, or I'm trying to understand the revenue trend in the last 6 months, or I'm trying to understand the key drivers in the revenue in the last 6 months. I'm trying to understand which sales performed, the sales trend per region over the last quarter, if it was product dependent or different things like that. Yeah, so it's up to you to define that problem clearly, right? That is one of the first things the data analyst has to do, because if you don't define your problem clearly, you'll be solving a wrong problem and your data will be wrong and everything will eventually be wrong. So the first thing in your job description is about defining the problem. And then the second thing is about collecting the data. Yeah, you begin to collect your data. After you define the problem, the next thing you ask yourself, do I have enough data required to answer these questions? If I don't have data, then I have to collect this data. And some of this may be involve web scraping. Personally, I've had to scrape the web several times to do some project at work. So you may not have the data you need to answer the question, but then you may have to scrape data from outside sources to use for your project. Depending on the need, depending on what you're trying to do, you may eventually have to create a pipeline. Let's say you're getting data from the database as well. So and it's something that you'll be needing frequently. You may need to create a data pipeline to automate that process. So you don't need to go back and forth all the time to pull in data. That's to automate that process. That's where you may have to do an ETL pipeline, that's an extract transform load, or an ELT pipeline, and an extract load transform pipeline. Personally, I prefer the extract load transform pipeline, ELT pipeline. Yeah, so that's there. And okay, so after you collect the data, the next thing you have to do is to clean up the data. So yeah, data is never data is always messy. One of the things that struck me like in real world data is that data is always messy. Like really, it's never clean. Like it's never clean. And so you have to clean up your data. So you have consistency in your data. So you have to put some parameters in data validation, normalizing or standardizing data. So you have the same kind of units in your numerical fields, the name formats are the same, and stuff like that, right? You need to clean up data. So when you're visualizing your data, you're seeing it in one format, in one standardized view, not different kind of view. Say, for example, you have a column that has the weight of of goods in kilograms and in grams. You have to standardize it so that all of them, everything has one particular unit price and stuff like that. That's part of the data cleaning process. And as a data analyst, you'll be doing lots of data cleaning, right? because you never get clean data. Even from database, you never get clean data. So something that you could do to help you reduce your data clean, not well, reduce it like a bit. It's when you are part of the data collection process. So what I mean is that if you're working with the engineers and you're building an application, because in that sense, your application is your data collector. This is where the data is being collected, right? So if you're working with them to define the fields that are being collected and how they are collected, you may largely help in reducing the efforts placed in the data cleaning processes, because you would have already put an input in the data collection process initially, right? And then the next part would be to set up your data analysis or your data visualizations and reports. Then the next step would be to create your data reports and visualizations. So you've collected your data, you've cleaned it up, and now you are analyzing and creating your reports. And then oftentimes it's best to automate these things, so you don't have to do them once and once again. That's where the data pipeline comes in. So your data pipeline extracts from the back end, you load it to your data warehouse, and then transform it to whatever tool you're using, and then feed into your data visualization tool like Tableau or Power BI or Metabase, whatever you're using. And really, that's how that works over there, right? So this is really just what you get to do on a day-to-day basis, yeah. Except when you have some ad hoc tasks. So by and large, it's going to fall around this: is that you're building a dashboard to answer questions from your already clean data, or you're cleaning the data, or you're creating a pipeline to pull out the data to collect data you need. So really, your day-to-day job would revolve around this area, right? As a data analyst, yeah. And then so let's go over to the qualifications. So what qualifications do you need to become a data analyst in 2022? Oftentimes, okay, generally you would need a bachelor's degree. Yeah, may not necessarily be a bachelor's degree in computer science or in data science, but you would need a bachelor's degree because almost every job today requires a bachelor's degree. So you will need a bachelor's degree. If you have a bachelor's degree in mathematics or statistics or computer science, that's a big plus. But if you don't, yeah, today you can learn the skills from everywhere on the internet, right? Several certifications. I personally have a bachelor's degree in industrial chemistry. Yeah, so really it's not so compulsory you have a bachelor's degree in maths or statistics, but then that really helps if you do. A master's degree is also not very, very compulsory. Yeah. So what really counts in this field is your handiwork, right? Like the ability for you to do what you say you can do. Yeah. So really, that is really what counts for you. And something that helps you stand out is having a portfolio. So because the portfolio shows that you can do what you say you can do, not just you saying I can do it, right? So that really counts for you. And then the skills required are basically SQL, knowing how to use Excel and spreadsheets, um, data visualization, Tableau or Power BI, yeah, and then Python, yeah. So those are the basic skills you need for your day-to-day job as a data analyst. You need to be proficient, like basic to intermediate level of SQL, using Excel, Python, and then able to use a data visualization tool like Tableau or Power BI, or whatever tool is available in your data stack. And then for salary expectations, so in Nigerian Naira, let's say from entry level, intern to entry level data analyst role, depending on the organization and depending on the industry, you could get anything from, let's say, 150,000 to about 400,000 per month here for an entry level role, depending on what you're doing. For a mid-level role for mid-level role, somewhere around 400,000 over to 700,000. Now I said largely depending on your organization and your industry. And senior level role above there, say 800 to 1.5, 2 million per month. Yeah, that's head of the roles and stuff like that. That's for within the Nigerian market. For international markets, entry level roles could be somewhere around converted to naira, like converted to naira. Say you're working remotely in Nigeria for a foreign company, somewhere around 1 million to 1.5 million per month, like for let's say entry level to mid level, around those ranges, and senior roles much more higher, let's say 2 million, 2.5, sort of a thing for those roles. Yeah. So this is really what a data analyst does. And if you're considering the role is something you can do, you can go ahead to get yourself certified, get yourself the skills, practice, build your project portfolio, and then start applying for roles out there. Yeah, I hope you got a thing or two out of this video. Please don't forget to hit the subscribe button and notification bell so you're notified when the next video comes up. All right, bye.